Welcome back to Armored Academy of Arizona. We got another video to break down here. This is a shorter round. We're going to take a look at a little 3-on-3 here. So over here we've got Skylar, Gober, and Aaron. And Gober and Aaron are actually from New Mexico. They came out to help us this evening. So special shout out to those guys. Thanks for coming out. We appreciate it. Over here we have Bill, Bam Bam, Woodbury, JR, and you can't see him yet, but Jeremy's in there. And we're going to see how this round goes. It's a fast one, so it starts off with a bang. Here we go. So right off you can see Bill cuts across and hits Gober from the side. This is a real good opening. Sure, Bill's back is exposed here, but I mean Jeremy's there watching, and also we have JR, so let's see how this goes. Okay, JR came in, he got locked up with Skylar, and they're starting to wrestle. That was a beautiful throw by Skylar. Let's take a look at what happened here. You'll see that Skylar is kind of side to side with JR, and as they work, you can see that JR gets turned sideways, and Skylar is making him step foot to foot. So as JR is moving, he's actually taking a step with his right foot and then bringing his left foot in to match it. And what happens here is that he's shuffling sideways and Skylar is walking into him. And, you know, for the most part, you can't shuffle as fast as someone else can walk. So eventually, his upper body here gets over his feet. And by over, I mean leaning over his feet. And once that starts to happen, he's in trouble, as we can see. Down he goes. Alright, in the back here, we've got Bill working on Gober still. You can see Bill's got him bent over, but he's got a foot underneath, and he's dragging him down the rail, which is a good thing to do. And he was pushing on Gober's head, trying to get him forced into the ground, but Gober's a very flexible guy and pretty squirrely, so he actually ducked out of it and stood back up. At this point, Bill goes and engages with Aaron, and Gober is assessing what he's going to do next. And then we can see that Jeremy is flying in at Skylar, and just pay attention to what Skylar does here. You can see that Jeremy got on top of Skylar's head, but Skylar turned out of it, and the momentum Jeremy had sent him into the rail. He wasn't able to hang on. So that was a good job by Skylar. One possible thing, if you ever find yourself in that situation, is maybe stick a foot out so they trip over it, so they don't just leave, but they also fall down. A little bit easier said than done sometimes. Moving around, so you can see he's looking for his next target, and he found it. He went for Gober. Gober did a great job of stuffing the jump, and if the rail wasn't there, I think Jeremy may have fallen down, but obviously saved by the rail. Skylar takes a couple jabs. Excellent kicks there. Let's take a look at those real quick. So kicks are good for knocking someone's balance down, so they're working on it. You can see Gober's got a good chop kick in there. Got to watch the back of the knee. That's something that might happen, but in this case, kicks didn't bear fruit. This is a good move by Jeremy. So over here, you're going to see Jeremy kick his foot all the way through this way. And it's going to cause Gober's structure to bend. And what I mean by structure is if you look at the base of his skull down to the top of his butt, and then his legs are nice and squared out, As long as he has a generally straight posture here, he's actually very strong. He can resist a lot of stuff. But as soon as you get someone's posture to go from nice and straight to curvy or twisted in some regard, at that point they become in trouble. Their ability to resist what's happening kind of goes away, and you're going to see that right now. Kicks through, so you can see that now his structure is shaped like that. He can't resist much of anything at this point, just because his whole body has been modified to not have any strength. He can't use his feet to support his back in any way, and with his head bent over like this, he's got a lot of gravity working against him. All he has to hold himself up are his back muscles, and that's not much. His back muscles compared to all of Jeremy's arm and core, because Jeremy's going to use his core to squeeze down and all that, his back muscles won't be able to resist that, especially not with armor on. So we can see, down he goes. And while we were looking at that in the back, we had something else happen with Aaron and Bill. So over here, Aaron's got a lockup. He's got that sword all the way across Bill's back, and he's got him in a big hug. And I mentioned in the previous video that this isn't necessarily a good thing, because it's not the best lockup, just because you have a tendency to go with your opponent, or you might lose your weapon. In this case, he's going to do something we refer to as a suicide, which what that is Aaron's going to hold on for dear life, and he's going to actually flop down on purpose, and he's going to bring Bill with him. You'll be able to see it, and he brings him down. So you can see that Bill gets hung up on the rail a little bit. I imagine he grabbed it with his elbow to try and stop, but it wasn't enough, and brought him down. So now they're both down. A suicide is something that makes sense in very few instances. Unfortunately, it's rare that it makes sense to do in a good way. Generally, the only always good time to do it is when you know you're going down anyways, and there's nothing you can do about it. You may as well bring the guy down with you as you go down. That's not what happened here. Generally speaking, when you do a suicide, if it works, maybe you help your team. There's a small maybe. So let's say you're in a 2-on-1, and it's you and a teammate versus one other guy. And if you do the suicide, then you won. And that's great. But if you fail, then it's a 1-on-1. And that's what we have here, is a 1-on-1. So we got Jeremy and Skylar. They're going to wrestle. And it looked like Jeremy might have gotten his foot a little bit caught on the down body. You can see right here his heel is hung up. And besides that, his whole structure, again, is broken. So his back is bent. This part of his body is here, and then his legs are here. So his legs are not under the main part of his body, which puts him in a big disadvantage. He's got momentum this way. Skylar has pushed him somewhat. And if he could get a foot out of here, which his feet are together, so they're both kind of stuck, but if he could get a foot out over here, he could maybe catch himself, but it looks like he gets hung up on Gober's foot there, and so down he goes. So that was this round. Thank you everybody for joining me here once again today. Appreciate you. Make sure you hit subscribe and leave a comment and all the YouTube stuff, and I'll see you next week.